thanks guys, thank you so much, thanks. I thought this was Farhan Akhtar on some compos or something, man. When Kimi comes on radio, on radio, he just makes entertainment again and again and again. What a good race, yeah, Kunal.
I'm out of words. It was one of the best races.
So was Kimi.
But I'm not as quick as him, I must admit. God damn it.
Yes, Hamilton was in a class of his own, controlling the race, controlling the pace. You know how champions do it, like rapper class. What's up?
What's up, yo, my man? How are you?
I'm very well. Hey, look at Hamilton. He's going all Nicola that. And what he does, I'm sorry to use the N word, but you know what Hamilton does? I mean, he comes in the race overalls, gets over with the race, puts on a cool hat, just bling, he's taking pictures while Nico's frowning.
Yeah. But you know what? Talking of class, I don't know what class Raikkonen was in because he's usually in his own class, isn't he?
Yeah, he's class, he just comes, he shows he's faster than Vettel, which I've believed over the last few races, and he's
My
not
God.
had some luck on his side.
Get out.
Oh. Well, was Rosberg in his class?
Yeah, well, he was out of class. Well, we're being harsh, but break by wire, not break by wire, doesn't matter. He really needs to dig deep, and I think everyone has been saying it, so we should speak about someone else.
Yes, his answer lies in qualifying. We shall get ahead and go to the consistency that Formula One showed on the social media thanks to getting on Twitter, guys.
Yeah,
Thank you
absolutely.
so much.
The @F1 is a must follow. Thankfully, they are there now after years of not being there, and they gave us a very, very interesting insight.
Yeah, the insight is that Vettel and Hamilton together have won half of the Grand Prix that have taken place since 2007, which includes a lot of Grand Prix won by Massa and Buttons of the world, etc.
Yeah, I can't remember. Was it Kubica as well? No, I
Yeah,
don't know.
Kubica.
Some one single race winner. But it's so interesting. The two guys who won most of the races find themselves in the two fastest cars on the grid.
Yes.
yes.
Vettel, yes.
Also, what @F1 said, very interestingly, is that Nico Rosberg is the most consistent driver on the grid this year.
How is that?
Because he's the only driver who's finished in the exact same position he started the races in.
It's going to be a little painful, but I must tell, nobody is feeling the pain more than Vettel because Vettel knew the car was good, the car was easier on tires, but he was not very Vettel-like, making mistakes, damaging front wing, a little bit off.
Yeah, a little bit off, and to me, the Ferrari front wing mount needs to be much stronger. I mean, he barely had the sort of an off on that curb in Bahrain. Okay, and it just suddenly was hanging. But nevertheless, he couldn't pass Bottas. What do you think?
Which is a little bit of a surprise because I know there's a Mercedes engine, but Ferrari is really good aerodynamically. They come out of the corners really fast. So this is a little off day for Vettel, if I may call it. On day for Kimi Raikkonen, but I'm feeling very bad. He got on the podium, no champagne. I mean, at least he could have had an ice cream.
Yeah, now that is why you and I are on the Inside Line F1 podcast. Every single person on social media, including Ted Kravitz on his notebook, said Kimi got onto the podium when there is no champagne. But hey, guess what? They could have served ice cream. Only you can come up with that.
All right. Kimi Raikkonen on the podium, yes. Hamilton has been switching helmets. Now, he's been using Arai helmets for the last 20 years, and now he's suddenly switching to another one, and that is called
Bell, I think. And I'm very interested to know if he tested Bell in the practice sessions before finally deciding on Arai.
I have a great solution for Hamilton. If you're going to switch helmets, do it during the race, during the pit stops, and call your Arai helmets as the primes, and call your Bell helmets as the options.
And knowing the pace that Mercedes has, I think he will have that kind of buffer to make the helmet change as well. And guess what? If you remember, he actually did a steering wheel change as well. This was some 2-3 years back in the Indian Grand Prix.
Yes,
you know what? I'm playing your role on the Inside Line F1 podcast.
I'm getting a feeling the Arai helmet is going to start bending after 17 laps when Hamilton starts locking up. Anyway, artificial F1. Everybody's excited about the sparks, but some people are saying it's just too much. It's been created artificially. I like it.
I love it.
How does it happen?
Well, they have put titanium skid blocks under the car. Okay. Up until last year, they were metal blocks, and that metal was far harder at some point of time.
True.
Okay. And a listener on social media actually tells us, I can't remember his name, Alexis, I think. He actually explained that the titanium skid blocks aren't just added for the sparks.
Okay.
They're also added because the earlier metal used was in some ways getting laid on the curbs
Oh, God.
and was causing punctures as well. So that's some insight that you and I also got this weekend.
Oh, that's really good. I mean, whatever the reason is, we really love them. They look spectacular.
Yeah, especially under the lights. But you know what, Rishi? Talking of artificial Formula One, this is the only artificial part of Formula One which I absolutely approve of.
Yes, so far you've been very gaga about how you dislike DRS, and as a racer inside you is absolutely hurt by DRS. Somewhere I like it, but it should be a little more limited than it is already.
But you know what? Talking of artificial Formula One, and given that we are in this era where we certainly want everything to tailor to a good race,
I know, manufacture racing.
Bernie Ecclestone is very capable, if he hears our podcast, to go and put track warmers in the next race onwards so that Mercedes will actually have a sustained, they'll go slower and they'll have a sustained fight from Ferrari for every single race this season.
I know he really wants, he must be desperate.
Yeah, he wanted sprinklers, and the opposite of sprinklers could well be putting track warmers.
Okay, now that you bring up this point, and I think Bernie's got to do something with this. Pirelli suddenly come up and said we're getting our softest tires for the next 4 races. Softest tires means higher rate of degradation. Softest tires means more racing, strategy, splits. Somebody takes care of the tires better, somebody's not so good, which means Mercedes and Ferrari come in closer, and very crucial at this point where Ferrari is planning engine upgrades for more horsepower.
Yes, Rashid, something seems very fishy to me in this. And this is again only my view. I don't know if you're going to subscribe to it. I know a lot of our listeners may not. What is to say, or who is to rather disagree, that Bernie Ecclestone would have probably made the call to Mercedes and said, guys, in this entire issue of you guys making the sport boring, you guys have done a great job, but hey, I pay you a certain millions of dollars every year to go racing, and I would request you to go half a second slower so that you all win, but it doesn't look very convincing, and Ferrari gets a chance to fight with you guys. But hey, you guys can win. And when Bernie makes a request, like he made a request to us last year to give the Russian Grand Prix the award, it's not just a request, it's an order. So maybe it's that, I don't know.
I know. Sometimes it just looks fishy when Hamilton is just slowing down purposefully, letting Rosberg fall in the clutches of Vettel or Raikkonen. I also understand that.
And if you see the pre-season testing, Ferrari was all over the place. Yes, they were decently quick, but not so quick that suddenly Mercedes feels threatened. Okay, something seems fishy. I don't know what it is. I don't like fish anyway. I'm a vegetarian.
All right, coming to somebody who likes fish, tuna, beef and everything more that a caveman eats. Jenson Button did not race in Bahrain 2015. So there wasn't a full grid, full 20-car grid.
Yeah, there's been only one race this season where we had a 20-car grid.
I believe it was Malaysia.
Yes, was it? Yeah, exactly. And in terms of Jenson Button, I can tell you why he didn't race. Or rather, Binoy, one of our listeners, actually told us why he wasn't in the race. So he had a special deal with Twitter where he would not race, but he would tweet during the race, and that's what he did.
And one of our listeners, Mithila, turned around and said, well, F1 on TV is not as entertaining as F1 on Twitter, and Jensen was supporting the cause. So, coming up next, Naza was a Maza.
What?
Naza was a Maza. We love saying it.
I'll say Felipe versus Felipe.
Yes,
I'll confuse it even more.
Felipe Nasser versus Felipe Massa. It was so close. The two Brazilians going tire to tire, wheel to wheel, head to head. And they were really close. So the commentator suddenly decided to call Felipe Nasser as Fred. So Fred did make some great gutsy moves out there.
He made awesome moves. We've heard Nico Rosberg complain, hey, if I get too close, I eat up my tires. But Felipe Nasser, or Massa Jr. as I call him, actually made so many moves. I mean, he and Verstappen should be given long-term contracts just for the entertainment they provide by overtaking.
Max Verstappen actually gave some entertainment on radio. He came on radio and said, well, I can barely move the steering wheel and still I'm oversteering. How's that even possible? So welcome to the world of F1.
Yeah, where Mercedes' brake-by-wire was actually brake-by-haywire in Bahrain.
Do you know that Mercedes was not the only one who had a brake issue?
Was it?
Yeah, there was one more.
Which one?
The Star Sports team. They did not take a break through the race.
Applaud.
Now I'm watching and say, I want to go take a break, guys.
And Bahrain was so interesting that you can't even plan a pee break. I mean, usually you'd know, listen, if I'd go pee and come back.
About 21 seconds. Okay, well, come back to Massa. Massa's been driving well, like in 2008 where he almost won. But his luck has been riding the wrong car.
Well, his luck is as well as 2008
Oh,
as well.
yes, he didn't win.
Okay. But Rishi, I would love a job, like Felipe Massa, where you're your best for once every 7 years and you still get paid millions of dollars for it and you get to drive a really quick car.
Woohoo! Okay, reminding me of quick cars. I'm going to come to Renault. Renault are quick and they are very, very statically correct.
Really?
Yeah.
Why?
Because they decide to blow up like just at the line.
Yeah, like Formula One efficiency at its best.
I mean, look at the good old days when you had one engine per race and look who's having it.
That Ricciardo is doing. He like one of our listeners, Williams Forever, lovely tweet handle or lovely Twitter handle, said that Ricciardo brought his own fireworks to Bahrain.
And was serving some barbecue just at the finish line. I mean, that was a little dramatic for no reason.
But can you imagine Red Bull's plight? Like double points finish, which is good for them, but they were barely spoken about in the race. Massive troubles for a brand built absolutely on marketing efforts.
We're talking about not talking good about people, talking about bad publicity. Maldonado is coming up with something new in the market. He has a new penalty to his list, which is the wrong grid spot. I mean, he was confused. I think this was because Massa was moved into the pits and stuff.
You know what, Rishi? Through junior racing that even I've done, or rather the racing I've done, which is junior racing for Maldonado, the first thing you learn is lining up on your actual grid spot. But it's not unlike Maldonado to take a penalty for any possible reason.
He does everything that you don't need to know about being in Formula One. But could Ferrari have won? The big question still remains. Yes, there are graphs being plotted and so many reports being written on how Ferrari kept Kimi a lap or two too conservatively outside. Do you think you believe in that? Because James Allison turned around and said, well, we have machines that are really, really expensive to figure this out.
You know what? I'm going to say a few things which are very crucial
Technical.
to... Yeah, well, I hope not to bore people. First thing, when people say, or when racers say that, if only the race was a couple of laps longer. Well, that's always the excuse that every Formula One driver makes, or any driver in motorsport. Personally, I do believe Ferrari could have done better with Kimi's strategy. A lap here or a lap there would have possibly had him closer. He could have won knowing that Lewis had his problem. I mean, had he been closer to Lewis, he would have been able to pounce and take victory. But he wouldn't have been able to win on merit because I think Mercedes had some pace in them which they could have unlocked had Kimi come charging.
Also, I believe if Rosberg had not had the BBW issue, I think he had something left in his stars to defend against Kimi. He timed himself very well.
Yeah, I mean, I was having this chat with Mithila, who I was watching the race with, and she turned around and said, what will Rosberg do? I said, that's what he does. He's waiting for Kimi to come. He's waiting for Kimi to come. Till then, he's pacing himself, and then he'll unlock the potential of his tires the minute he knows Kimi is going to attack. And in today's day and age, the attack is not a tenth away. It's a second away till you get into DRS zone.
Yep, absolutely correct. But this, actually reminded me of the good old days when, Michael could just undercut people with Ross Brawn and John Todd plotting something.
Yeah, they were brilliant at the undercut.
I know.
Absolutely. They just came in, they knew they were quicker, they took the faster tire, made up those 2.5 seconds, and boom. He was suddenly ahead of Rosberg, and Mercedes seemed clueless about it.
But the good thing is Rosberg could overtake the Ferrari every single time, which just showed that when Mercedes was quick, they were quick.
Absolutely. And the one thing I loved about Bahrain was that Rosberg in somewhere messed up Lewis's strategy because Vettel got closer to him, and Vettel in some way messed up Raikkonen's strategy because Raikkonen got too close to him. And okay, again, very technical, but the purists of the sport would somewhere understand this.
But this is a good thing, that Ferrari is developing and quick and the token system is working for them because in Canada they're getting a lot of power, and with the whole tire saga working for them, this could be good for F1.
Obviously, I mean, the token system I don't understand. I don't even want to know. But Ferrari being competitive always does well for the sport. Can you imagine? We've spoken 15 minutes and we haven't spoken a single negative thing about the business of Formula One. Usually when the sport is doing bad, that's what you and I talk about. We don't even talk about grid girls. Well, that's another thing.
Oh, yeah, I kind of missed them.
But one person we should talk about.
Yes.
Fernando Alonso.
Oh, where's he disappeared? From the blog as well. That is hilarious.
Can you imagine? He didn't even make the 15-minute cut of the Inside Line F1 podcast. Forget 107%.
107. Well, Mika Hakkinen has gone ahead and said that Alonso has taken a very massive task ahead of him, and it could take years before he would win the championship.
That's absolutely true.
And Alonso actually came up with his own analogy.
Yeah, I remember pre-season he said, listen, we're 5 seconds off the pace, which means if we make up a second every race, we'll be on the pace by Spain. And guess what? He's actually made up 3 to 4 seconds in the first 4 Grand Prix.
This is after being absent for one of them.
Yeah, actually, and giving it to somebody called Kevin Magnussen
For a lap or two.
So, you never know if what he's wishing for is going to come true. He might just well be closer to the pace in Spain, and we'd love that.
But you know what? Alonso is messing with the media. He got somebody sacked in Spain.
Yeah, you and I got to be very, very cautious. He'll sack us from our own podcast where we make no money.
Okay, the 2015 F1 game, if you're a F1 game enthusiast like I am, the album cover is launched, but Kunal doesn't like it.
Yes, I think it's fake, Rishi.
Why?
Because Ricciardo's face out there is straight. He's not even smiling.
That is a fake.
Be careful before you purchase it. You make sure that Ricciardo's 440-watt smile is visible on the album cover, guys.
Also, in the 2015 regulations, his braces are off. So. No sparks for you for extra metal. This is the metal we provide on F1. Here on the Inside Line F1 podcast, Kunal Shah and Rishi Kapoor take a bow. We'll be meeting you quite often till the next Grand Prix since we have a 3-week break, if I'm not wrong. So until next weekend, you have a great time wherever you are. Keep listening to the Inside Line F1 podcast because we're everywhere in the air.